Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make some alternative ideas using the July 2025 Sweeter With You paper pumpkin kit. It comes in this fun box. I mean, you know it's going to be good when your heart starts to pitter-patter just at the sight of the box. So inside, of course, is the full colour instructions that it always comes with. And this month there are 4 different cards that the kit gives you the supplies for, and there are 2 of each. So let me just grab in the ingredients. There is one like this with lovely little dots on it, a lovely garden green one, one that is strawberries all over it, and then there is the lovely plaid. There is also a sheet of die cut shapes. There is this lovely one, which I'm going to actually leave off to one side because I'm going to show you how I cut that into pieces. And then there's the usual array of shapes to stamp on, some lovely vellum. You know how it goes. So if you're brand new to paper pumpkin, this is it. This is how utterly fabulous it usually is. So let me just pop those off to one side. I did do some stamping, I did do some fussy cutting, I've done some sponging, I've done all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So let me pop the box off to one side. And full disclosure, I'm not in my own house, in my own stamping room right now. So everything is sort of cobbled together. So if I disappear and do the whole talk amongst yourselves, it's because I'm like, oh heck, I don't remember where I put that. But best foot forward. I'm going to make a few cards for you now because my kit only arrived today, and then I will gather myself together, and there'll probably be 2 or 3 more videos, the usual series that I do, because I don't like to make one that lasts for too long. So first card is using a piece of Pool Party 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. All of the cards that I'm making have that size format. So we'll give the crease a nice fold with the bone folder. And then this, as you will have probably worked out, is 1/4 of the sheet. So let me just go back and bring that one in. So there were 2 of these, and they're scored down the middle. So technically you would fold it, and this would be the back and this would be the front. Oh no. So I cut the front off at 4 1/4, and then I cut it in half again, height wise, vertical, at 2 1/8. So that is this piece that is going to go on the card. This whole series is going to get sort of a little bit more in depth as it goes along. These are the really quick and cheerful and, oh, I could do that. And then probably in the morning when I've had a whole night to sleep on it, I'll be like, oh, you know what else I could do? So this is going on the front. So without further delay, let's stick it on the front. That's not a complicated step, but I am going to make sure the opening is in the right way, in line with the orientation. Because I'm a lefty, I find it hard to do it that way, so everything I do is sort of upside down, but it attaches everything just the same. So we've got all the edges lined up, and there is the piece. And then what I did was, there are so many, as you can see, there are strawberries all over the place. But I thought I'm going to be making a lot of cards, and I didn't want to use them all up. And the kit comes with a lovely handy dandy 2-step stamp. So I tried it in real red, looked a bit full on, full force. So what I did was I got my Poppy Parade. And again, I know I've done this in previous videos, those of you who've watched earlier ones. Every paper pumpkin kit comes with a spot. This month's kit came with garden green. So what I did was I saved up all my spots. So when I travel, I've got a full spectrum of colors. It's not every color, of course. It's not the same as being able to get every color that Stampin' Up! Produce. But now I've got this one, and then I've cobbled together a second one. So I've actually got 48 colors. Some of them are retired, but if a yellow is close enough, then I'm going to bring it and make no apology for it. But Poppy Parade and Garden Green are the two colors that I'm going to use for this one. So just going to stamp up the strawberry and stamp that. So that looks great. We're off to a good start. And pop the lid back on. And then I'm going to use the garden green and the greenery at the top of the strawberry and line that up two-step stamping style. So now you can see we've got 2 strawberries. So what I did was I did that 3 times, and then I fussy cut them out. So now I've got 3 really lovely, bright and cheerful strawberries. This little basket came out of the kit. I'm not sure which card it was for, but it doesn't really matter because it's for this card now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of adhesive along the top of the back and pop my strawberries in. So they look like a basket full of yumminess. So there we have it, just attached to the back. And then I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. And the stamp that came in the kit says, "Life is sweeter with you." So I'm going to do it actually in the Poppy Parade. Thought I might do it with the green, but there's a lot of red in this one and I wanted to tie everything in together. So I'm going to stamp this. This is a piece and it's 1 1/4 by 2 3/4. Just good old basic white, and then stamp that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to point the ends. And the way we do that is you cut up the middle a little way, and then you go from the edge to that point in the middle. And then you know that your banner is even. So again, I'll do it on the other side, of course. Cut up the middle, and then from the point to that cut mark, and from this point to that cut mark. Now we'll just get rid of the scraps, and then we've got a nice little banner that can go on. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this with dimensionals, which are always supplied in the kit. And I love Stampin' Up! Paper pumpkin kits because they are so generous with the amount of dimensionals that they give us. It's incredible. So just peel the backing papers off. Normally I would say peel these off and fling them around my craft room, only I'm not in my own craft room, so that would be a bit rude. So I have to be a bit more circumspect and have some manners. So there we have that. Again, I'm just going to pop this on with some dimensionals. And, oops. Pop that between the 2 pieces, and there you have it. That's a really nice, quick and easy card. It's light enough on the inside that you don't necessarily need a piece of lighter cardstock to write your greeting on, so we can just leave it as is. So I'm going to pop that off to one side, and then what I'm going to do is use this monster because it is fabulous. So I'll pop it out so you can see how I cut it. It's a little bit easier to see the overall shape of it when it's not in amongst all the die cutting pieces. So this was the shape that we got. So let me just reach that over there, and then I cut it into quite a few pieces. So this one is what's here. So I cut it off the leaf at the bottom and I cut it down by here. So that was the first one. The second one, let me just get it out and show you while I'm pulling cards apart. This one was just this little piece here, so it was the up and over and the bottom of that stalk. So you can see there's that one and that one, and then the bottom one is this piece here. So this was how I cut those pieces from one strawberry bushel, or whatever you would call plant, not quite sure. But then I got three pieces to be able to make 3 cards from. So let me go in and bring this one in. So again, it's the other piece of the strawberries. So it's 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. These were just 2 of the punched out strawberries from the whole die punch that they gave us. One of the little flowers, again, which came in the pieces. Not quite sure where I've even put them now. The piece that I sort of doctored, and then there is this lovely die cut piece, which is what the Hey Friend gets to go onto. So I am going to bring in the Poppy Parade again. Ink up Hello Friend, and then I am going to stamp it into the space of the die cut. So it's just got to make sure I'm getting it lined up without getting my head lined up in the shot. Ooh, not bad at all. There we have it. So give that a quick wash and pop the lid back on the little spot. So again, just quick and easy to add the side piece, oops, as usual for me, upside down. And we can pop that into place. And then what I'm going to do is pop this on so the bottom of the leaf stalk overhangs, but this is going to just sit there, which is why I brought that little flower in, because I'm actually going to mask that over. So what I need to do is bring in my silicone mat, because there's a little bit of fineness there, so I'm going to be using some of the liquid glue. Get rid of that little boogery piece. Oh my gosh, get off me please. Oh, don't want it to be too much, so just run a little fine line where it's thin. The rest, of course, I could do with just the regular rolling adhesive, but seeing as I covered it in glue to try and control it, I will finish off. I've started, so I'll finish. I often mention Blue Peter, which was a children's program I grew up with, but I've started, so I'll finish was a really highbrow quiz where people had to be experts at what they answered. And the quiz master, if he'd started the question before the buzzer went off, would say, I've started, so I'll finish. So there we have it. There is the flower. I'm just going to snip the bottom of the leaf off so it's nice and even. And I will bring in a mini dimensional, oops, and pop that onto the flower so it can help disguise the bottom of there. I'm going to stick the big strawberry on with rolling adhesive. Actually, I'm just going to do that over there so it doesn't make my work surface sticky. So we'll pop that one on flat, pop this one on with a couple of dimensionals. And then the Hello Friend can just squeak in there. And I think again, I'm just gonna use dimensionals. I love dimensionals, so anytime I've got an opportunity to use them, I always think, why not? I'm getting an awful lot of backings. I don't realize how much when I'm at home, how much I actually fling those out of the way. But there we go. So there's another quick and easy card. And it's got the lovely die cut of the strawberries, but it only uses 1/3 of it, so it saves the rest for different cards. So I'll pop that over there. What I'm actually going to do is, I did remember to bring with me some of my lovely sparklies, but I think we'll do those all at the end. So next card is a little bit more involved. So after I had punched out some of the strawberries that I used out of the die cut, I thought, oh, I could use those on a card. So what I did was I just got a slight refrain. So this piece, the body of the card is the garden green, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, but we're going to do it landscape style. This is 4 by 5 1/4, and I have sponged the strawberries on using this lovely little sort of template, I guess you could say. And what I did was I brought with me, let me reach over, a sponge, an old sponge that I'd gotten from a kit, and I just cut it in half, into quarters, into eighths. So there is an 1/8 that is for green and an 1/8 that is for reds right now. So I will bring back in the garden green, and using the green sponge, of course, I will just go ahead and give that area a sponging with green. And then same concept with the red. I mean, you have to be very careful because there's not really very much room around. You can't go splodging it everywhere, but there's definitely enough that it will allow you to stamp them, and I think that's rather lovely. And it's quite funny because I've done exactly the same with this one as I did with the last one, having just said there's not very much space to do the sponging with, but not to fear, because this piece is going to go on here and hide that. So then what I thought I would do, well, strawberries are lovely, but they really need sort of the definition. And then I thought, oh, I'll get my paper piercing mat. And where is my paper piercing mat? Oh, that's right, it's at home. So a handy dandy piece of cardboard and my stylus. And what I did was I just went and poked some lovely big holes in these to act like the berries. So random and or frantic stabbing of strawberries with cardboard. Not too bad an effect. And then you can see the light actually does, there you go, you can see the light actually shines through. But then what I needed to do was make the holes a little bit more defined. So in the true interest of Blue Peter that I just mentioned, here's the one that we were doing. Here's the one that I made earlier. And then all I did was I went with my stylus and I pushed the holes bigger so the light would be able to shine through. Now the envelopes that come with the kit, let me just grab one for you. The envelopes are, only the tops are decorated this time. Quite often the insides and everything, but how lovely, because this almost looks like a market stall. So what I did was I cut the top off the envelope, and then I thought, oh, well, you know what? Because this is a darker color, we're going to need something for the inside. So if I just bring in my paper trimmer, we can line up the edges just into the paper trough and cut it open. So you get just a little hair slither, and then we can do that on the other side. And then we could actually cut the front off. And then this is 5 3/4, so that's 2 7/8. We can just slice that in half. And then we've got a nice little piece for the inside of the card for signing. It's a little bit rough, but it should lie flat, and then we can pop it on the inside, and there's enough space there for the greeting because we've already sort of committed the envelope to be the scalloped edge, so we might as well put the rest of it to good use. So now we are going to build the rest of the front of the card. So what I need to do is attach this, and then we can just trim the edges off. So I'm going to put the adhesive along the edge and along the front. And then I can just line it up evenly. And then trim off the excess pieces. And then what we need to do is pop this lovely strawberry on. And again, let me just see if I can reach the trash with that lovely bit of yuckety duckety glue. And we're going to put a little bit of glue just down the stalk, on the body, and up there. That might actually be a little bit too much. We will see. So we'll put the edge of the leaf in the corner. And as much of that as we can. And then we can just snip off the spare. Wipe that quickly off my scissors because these are the only ones I have with me currently. So that's a nice little strawberry coming in. And again, we will do the hey, hello, friend, but this time I'm going to do it with the garden green. So I've got the die cut piece, the same. Press it down, whoops. There you go, it's nice and bold and green. And it ties in with the colour of the cardstock. And again, just a few dimensionals on the back. Now this is going on the middle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to attach this with dimensionals so that it gets, the light gets just a teeny tiny chance to peek through. So I'm going to put one obviously where there isn't anything, but we don't want to put it where the greeting is because that would make a double thickness of dimensionals and they don't always fit through the post office system on one stamp. So you should always make sure that if you have dimensionals, you don't have them doubled up anywhere. And actually, I'm just going to pop one small one in that corner to hold that one up. And now we can pop it on. There's the dimensionals around the edge, but when it goes into the envelope, this can squash down without being double thickness. So that is the third card. And then, as I always joke about myself, would it really be a card that I had made a paper pumpkin alternative idea if it didn't have a ZZ fold card? So I thought I would do a little bit differently. So I cut one of the pieces of the pink speckly card and one piece from the plaid. So they are each 2 1/8. So I'm going to attach those quickly to the front of the areas where they're going to go. Oof. Actually, this one I can just put up to the fold line. Because there's no orientation, it doesn't really matter which way around it goes. So it's an ambidextrous placement. So there we go, the ZZ fold. And to get a ZZ fold, it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then also scored at 2 1/8, or folded in half and folded back on itself. So it makes the ZZ shape, and then the two patterns meet in the middle. And then what I wanted to do was add this lovely piece to just this side. So we have to remember not to put glue on the big leaf, otherwise when you press it down, it's going to stick your card together. So what I want to do is put just a little piece of glue on this area, and then you can see I can put it all the way down the long stalk and onto that strawberry, because that is actually going to stick down, and then just a little bit at the top of that one. So now when we pop it into place, I'm going to make sure the stalk is at the bottom. So it doesn't look like it's floating in midair. And then I'll just get one dimensional and pop that strawberry on the front. And then this lovely circle, how lovely is this? It's just going to fit across half of it. So again, so you don't close your card, so you don't stick your card closed to itself, but we can stamp the greeting in the middle. And what I'm going to use is an old paper pumpkin greeting that says, "For a one-of-a-kind friend." I'm going to do it in Poppy Parade because I've always loved this stamp set. Woo! So there we have it. And again, we know it can't go further than halfway. But what we can do is our usual ZZ fold trick and flip it over so we can see where we can put the glue up to. Can't do that so much with the strawberry shapes, of course, because they're not symmetrical, but this lovely circle sure is. So we will just pop that on there, on the fold. No sticky has appeared over here. And there we have that card, a nice ZZ fold card. And then last but not least, here is another one, but we're going to do it backwards. So we'll pop the pink on this side this time. We'll pop the plaid piece on the left, on the ZZ foldy part. pop the strawberry on a dimensional, same like the last one. And then in the kit came a lovely long piece. Let me see if I can actually find. Here is where it was. There's the circle. And I thought, I think I'm only going to need half of it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stamp it, and then this lovely big strawberry is going to help disguise it, and then that will stick over the ZZ section. So again, I'm actually going to use the same greeting for a one-of-a-kind friend. But I'm going to stamp it all the way over to the right hand side. And then stick this on, and rather than have a half a jagged little edge sticking out, I thought I might as well just go and cut those pieces down. They're going to be hidden behind the strawberry anyway. So if we do that, I can attach just a piece of rolling adhesive down there to attach the strawberry and make sure that the edges don't stick out above or below. And then this, we can flip it over and we can see where the edge of the card comes, that we know we can't put any adhesive further over than that. And then when we flip it back, it's going to be centered. And again, there's no sticky adhesive here, so it's not going to stick your card closed. There's plenty of room for writing. And then you've got an extra little ZZ fold. So let me bring back in all of the cards that we made. And then let's have a bling fest. So 1, 2, 3, and then these are the 2 ZZ fold cards. The directions will be on my blog. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to pop those in the box below. I will always get back to you. If you've got a question, please feel free to ask it, because I live to help people, she said dramatically, but really, that's why I do the videos, because it's just such fun to share. So these are lovely. These are strawberry slush and pretty and pink gems. So they're just pretty much strawberry flavored, aren't they? So we'll pop, oops, let's pop one there, a pink one there, and a little one down here. Let's do a little one on there. Oops. 2 on there. I think I'll just do clear ones on here. This one's really busy. Not really sure it needs that many, but let's give it some anyway. I would hate for anybody to feel left out. And then last but not least, we'll put a couple of, not quite sure where to, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to pop the bling along the front of this pot. Okay, there you have it. So 5 cards to get us started. There will be more, like I said, they'll come out in a series once I've had a chance to digest what there is and do a little bit more thinking. So I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing. I thank you in advance for any appreciation you feel you could offer me. And in the meantime, thanks for watching.